mechanism of current flow. In a conductor. Now, to understand the flow of the current in a conductor, then we can suppose that if this is a conductor, and in this conductor what is there here, if this is a very good conductor, then in this conductor what is there, there is a gas of electrons. We can imagine like this one, gas of electron, that everywhere there are a very large number of electrons present which are free to move. Just like you have studied in the 11th class the kinetic theory of gases, and we have supposed that in that here in a big container we are having a gas, and if these are the gas molecules or the gas particles, then in which direction they will move, they will move in a random directions. Random means the direction is not fixed, you can't predict and you can't say in which these are moving. In the conductor the electrons they will be moving randomly with different velocities and with different directions. Clear? And therefore the net motion is zero, and that is why when we are having a conductor which is not connected to any potential difference, then what is there, the current through the conductor it is zero. But once the potential difference is applied, one side is connected to positive, another is connected to negative, then what happens, all these electrons they start experiencing, hello Anji, now they all the electrons which are moving randomly in random directions with different velocities, and once the potential difference, this potential difference is applied, then what happens, all the electrons they will start experiencing the what, they will start experience the force. And what is the force and what is the direction of the force, now we will discuss everything in this one. Now if we are having n electrons, if we are having n electrons, clear, and u1 u2 u3 and so on, these are the initial velocity of the electrons, means they are random velocities. What is there, clear, what is their initial velocities, they are random velocities. What we call them, we call them random velocities. Then if I add all the velocities and take the average, that is if I take the average, then average velocity will become this one, u1 u2 u3 plus un. Now if I add all the velocities and take the average, average means I will divide by the total number of electrons, clear, then this average velocity it will become, what do you think, what it will become, it will become 0, because you can see we are adding vectorially, and you can see that if one direction is along, let us say north, then somewhat must be towards the south. If one is towards the east, then another must be towards the west. And therefore what is there, if we add them all together vectorially, as these are all in random directions, therefore their average comes out to be 0. So in this way the average velocity will, before the connection or application of the potential difference, the average velocity of all the electrons, average velocity, not one velocity, average velocity is different from the individual velocity. Individual velocity, that is u1, u2 and u3, these are not equal to 0, these are having some values. But when we take the average of all the velocities of all the electrons, what is this one? N is the number of electrons. Clear? When we take the average and when we add them together and divide the total number of electrons, then what we get with the average velocity. Average velocity is 0, although the individual velocity is non-zero. So in this way, before the application of the potential, what is there? The average velocity of the electron is 0. So this thing is the, we can, what say, one thing we must keep in mind. What is this? That is u average u1 plus u2 plus u3 plus u4 plus un divided by the total number of electrons. This must be equal to 0 and this become equation number 1. Clear? So therefore the average velocity will become equal to 0. Now on the application of the, and when the average velocity is 0, what does it mean? It means the net flow of the charge in any given direction is 0. Clear? 0 means there is no net flow. No net flow means current is equal to 0. So therefore this is the situation before the application. Now once we apply the potential difference and then electric field is developed. Now if E is the, that is, now here is the conductor and I connected to some potential difference, then what will happen? This is the positive and this is the negative. Then this positive and negative, they will generate an electric field E inside the conductor, and therefore this electric field will be experienced by all the electrons present in the conductor. All these electrons which are present here, they will experience a force. Now if E is the electric field, strength, clear, then from the formula, that is electric field is equal to force experienced per unit charge, then we can write down force is equal to E into Q. Then from this formula, the force experienced by the electron, by using this concept, the force experienced by electron will be equal to the force experienced by electron will be, now what is in place of Q? That is minus E, and electric field strength is E. So therefore the force will be minus E into E. What does it mean? It means F is equal to minus E into E. Minus E because of charge on the electron is negative and E is the electric field. And now you can see that the direction of F and E will be opposite of each other. So if this is the direction of electric field, then this will be the direction of the force experienced by the electron. Now force given by this arrow towards my left hand side, and electric field given by this arrow towards my right hand side. So therefore the force experience will be in opposite direction. All the electrons, they will start experiencing interaction opposite to that of electric field. And if m is the mass of an electron, clear, then using this relation F is equal to ma, I can write A is equal to F upon m, and therefore F is equal to minus E upon m. So therefore acceleration is equal to minus E upon m. So because of the externally applied electric field, and acceleration will act on all the electrons, where I have written here m is the mass of the electron. So therefore what will happen, if in this I will take the case of one electron. Now suppose that if this is the one electron present here, and this is the positive and this one is the negative, and the force is acting on this electron in this direction. So therefore when it will move, then it will strike against the, say, the kernel or the other moving electron. So as it will strike, therefore what will happen, it will lose its whole energy, and then its velocity will become again, that is velocity which is gained by this one, it will again become 0, and then again it will start moving with the force. Now it can be viewed, so therefore suppose this electron is here, it will move, strike against, this is the one collision, move, strike against, then move, strike against, then move, strike against, then move, strike against, and then move, strike against. So therefore the motion of the electron is not smooth, it is moving after suffering lots of collisions with the kernels or with the electrons, because in the case of a conductor, this whole space is not empty, it is solid. Being a solid, it is filled by the other atoms. Now it can be compared with this one. Let us suppose that if this is a room, now in this room there are the two doors. This is a door number 1 and this is the door number 2, clear? And what is this? This is a big hall. Now you run from, you means one person, that is one person run from door 1 to door 2. Now in the first situation, that is when the hall is empty, then the person will move straight and will reach to the door 2 in a very small time, and it will move straight forward. Now I will create another situation, that is this is the situation, this is again the same hall, and this is the door 1 and this is the door 2, and now it is not empty, it is not, there is a party going on in this hall, and therefore there are large number of people are standing here, and they, some are taking tea, some are eating chocolate, some are eating, having cakes, some are having pakoras, clear, some people are dancing and so on. The hall is completely filled, clear? Now if you want to run from door 1 to door 2, now what do you think, can you move straight? The first question is, can you move straight? The answer is no. Second is, can you move without striking? with the other persons, because you have to move fast. So therefore whenever you will move like this one, then from here you will see the path here one, then you can move this one, then you will move here, and so on. So therefore every time you will suffer a collision, and at last, after suffering so many collisions, you will reach at the door 2. And therefore you can compare these two situations. In this situation it is totally empty, nothing is there, no one is here, that you can move straight, and in very small time you can reach the door 2. But this is a situation when this is not the empty one, it is already filled with some people. Many people are standing here and there in some groups, some are dancing, some are moving, some are walking, clear, some are standing, some are even sitting there in the path. So therefore then your path will not be straight, and every time you will move, you will strike against the person sitting, dancing, running, walking in the in the path while you move from D1 to D2. So this is the situation when the electron move inside a conductor. It has to suffer collision many times through its journey from one end to another end. So therefore while moving, so what happens, whatever the velocity is gained by the electron, it is lost. Now it can be another, we can say that here another example analogy which you can compare. Suppose that we are having this situation, that is we are having a steps. Now what happens, suppose I having a ball here, I roll it. Now when it come from step number 1 to step number 2, then while moving vertically downward, it will gain velocity, it will be accelerated, and acceleration will be equal to acceleration due to gravity. And when it strike the surface at step 2, then whole of its gained energy will be lost. Clear? Then again it will move with uniform motion, and then again it will move to the step 3, and therefore when it will move from step 2 to step 3, this will be again an accelerated motion. But once it strike the step 3, then it again will lose its whole energy, and this process will go on every time it move from 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, and from 6 on the floor, then it will start moving not with some acceleration but with uniform motion. So therefore although its motion from the step number 1 to step number 6 is an accelerated motion, but as a result you get the ball of uniform motion. What is the reason? The reason is that every time it strike against the next step, at the step 2, at the step 3, at the step 4, means at each and every collision it lose its energy, and hence its motion remain uniform. So therefore this is happening the same with the case of the electron in the case of a conductor. Now we will come to the our main topic. What is the topic? That is, here we have understood that is whenever this one we applied the electric field, then force will act, and because of this force the acceleration will be equal to minus E upon m. This acceleration will be acting on the all the electrons. Now if this is the acceleration, then what will happen to the velocity? Now we use this formula again, v is equal to u plus at. Now if velocity is if I am talking about the electron number 1, then v1 will be equal to u1 a into t. Now t is the time, I will take the t1 time. Now v1 u1 a t1. Now here a we will keep it constant, because we know that a acceleration is equal to minus e upon m. We know that mass of the all electrons is same, we know that charge on the electron is same, we know that electric field is same, so therefore acceleration for all the electrons will also be the same. So therefore in this equation v is equal to u plus at, the acceleration will be the same. But we know that the velocities, initial velocity of the electrons is not the same. So therefore we will take u1, u2 and u3 according to their values. And here t1, now t1 is the, we can say that the time for which the electron is accelerated. Now we know that if this is the electron, if it is accelerated for the time t1, then here again it will strike against, that is it will come against the collision. If you remember in the +1 class we have studied the one term that is called a relaxation time. Now same concept in the kinetic theory of gases we have studied the relaxation time. This same concept must be applied, or we are going to apply in this expression for the this is what we call it a drift velocity. So therefore t is the time for which electron is accelerated. Now if you will see it somewhat with some concentration, then you can see that we can say that the t1 is the time for which the electron moves without any collision. That is the time for which the electron is accelerated. I can say the time, it is also the time between two successive collisions. Now I can also say that, now you can see that here is the first collision and this is the second collision. Between two collisions the electron moves with some acceleration and without a collision. So therefore this is the t1 is the time between two successive collisions. So therefore as for the time t1 there is a no collision, so that is why we call it a relaxation time. So therefore we also call it a relaxation time for the electron. Clear? Means relaxation time means the time for which it is relaxed from the collision. So therefore if we use this formula u1 v1 is equal to u1 plus a t1, then for rest of the electrons I can also write the formula. So therefore for the second electron, the v2, it will become u2 plus a t2. Sorry, now it is a t2. v2 is equal to u2 plus at2. I think it is clear what is v2, what is u2, what is a and what is t2. T2 is the relaxation time for the second one, v2 is velocity for the second electron, u2 is initial velocity, and so on. So therefore using the same concept we can write down v3 is equal to u3 plus a t3, and this process will go on. We can write down for the nth electron Vn is equal to Un plus Atn. Now this is equation number 1. We can say that 1 2 3 4, this is 1 2 3 4 and so on. Now if we add them together, then what we will get? We will get here, that is v1 plus v2 plus v3 plus v4 plus vn. That will be equal to u1 plus at1, that is the value of v1, plus u2 plus at2, that is the expression for the v2, u3 plus at3, this is the expression for v3, and so on. Last one, un plus atn. These are the formulas. Now u1, u2, u3 and un, we will add them together. So therefore it will become v1 plus v2 plus v3 plus vn. Now this will be equal to u1 plus u2 plus u3 plus un plus, out of this one a is constant, we will take it out, and it will be equal to t1 plus t2 plus tn. So therefore in this way, this we are getting these equations. Now if you want to find the, or if you will divide this whole equation by total number of electrons, then I can divide this equation by total number of electrons, I can divide this by total number of electrons, I can divide this equation by total number of electrons. Then this will become, this is called, because this is the velocity of 1, 2, 3 and so on, so this will become average velocity, or we also call it a drift velocity. Drift velocity actually it is the average velocity. We are not talking, when we say that drift velocity, we are not talking about one electron, actually we are talking about the group of electrons. So therefore drift velocity is the velocity of not the one electron, it is the velocity of the large number of electrons. And you can see that in the first equation here, what is it? We have written it as 0. You can see initially we have written it as, here this one we have written it as equal to 0 because the random velocities are there, so therefore velocity will become 0. So this will become 0 plus a into, now this is the average relaxation time. Now what is this? This is the average relaxation time, which is equal to t1 plus t2 plus t3 plus tn divided by the n. This is called average relaxation time. Average relaxation time means the average of relaxation time of all the electrons taken together. This is the average. That is why this is average relaxation time. So therefore the expression for the drift velocity, it becomes, it is equal to a into t average. Now we will put the value of a in this equation. What we will get? The drift velocity, it becomes, what is the value of expression? Minus e upon m into tau. So therefore this is the final expression for the drift velocity, that is equal to minus e tau upon